centuries, Japan is known to be one of the oldest countries in the world, and the country that has interested foreigners, along with their influences on Western media. To Japan, culture is everything to them, from their customs to religions, and it is clear that this country's culture is different compared to other countries. Japan is known to be very formal with that they are respectful to anyone that comes to visit, and they greet visitors with a bow instead of a common handshake. Religion in Japan is limited to a few Christian missionaries, making Shinto and Buddhist their main religion. Shinto and Buddhist are open spiritually, which has caused a lot of superstitions that are meant to be followed by the citizens of Japan and the foreigners that visit. The start of superstitions was during the ancient Babylonian era, and the reason for superstitions has always been to teach younger generations to follow the status quo. Japan's superstition is rooted in ancient pagan and involves good or bad fortune by using animals to depict their fortune. One of their superstitions is that if you whistle at night, you will summon snakes to come to you. In feudal Japan, outlaws and other unsavory people prowled around the roads at night and would whistle to one another to do crimes. There's a Japanese version similar to the saying, "Step on a crack, you break your mother's back," but with a tatami mat instead. The lesson for this is similar to the US version, in that children need to respect their parents and their ancestors since these mats are considered precious to the family. Two numbers in Japan are considered unlucky due to the pronunciation. The number 4 in Japanese is shi, which sounds like the pronunciation for death, while the number 9 is pronounced as ku, which is similar to pain and suffering. These numbers are taken seriously in Japan, since if you go into a building to take an elevator, you will notice that the button for the 4th floor and sometimes the 9th floor is replaced with something else. Taking a spookier turn in Japanese superstitions is the warning to not swim during abun, or you will be spirited away. A known passageway for spirits is flowing water that helps them come back to the living world during abun. This superstition warns swimmers because the spirits of floating through the water will grab them and take them to the afterlife. There is a scientific explanation for this, and it is because during the summer months, Japan has its typhoon season, making swimming in the ocean dangerous. Japanese early influences on Western media started during the end of the 19th century, with a lot of their stories being about samurais in feudal Japan. Samurais are not as popular in Western media today since animation in Japan became popular. Manga, which will later be adapted into animations, took control sometime in the 1960s. While Western animation has already been on TV for years. Slowly, Western media showed interest in Japanese superstitions. A lot of people know about the American supernatural horror movie called The Grudge, but the story that comes from Japan is based on a legend that if someone were to die a violent death, that it could lead to a curse. A curse that can be reborn and passes from victim to victim, appearing to be an endless cycle. In the film, the spirit that is known to be as the Grudge is murdered along with her son by her husband after her infidelity, causing her to come back as a vengeful spirit. The movie was inspired by the Japanese legend of Kayako. Kayako had one reason for living, and that was her family. But one day her husband found her diary and believed that she was cheating on him, causing him to murder Kayako and their son. The story of this legend is so powerful that there are speculations that this was based on real events, but so far it is purely to teach people to be wary spiritually. There have been several adaptations of this film, along with video games. The Ring is an American horror movie about a cursed tape that if you watched it, you would receive a call that will tell you that you will die in 7 days. The film is about a novel from 1998, Ringu, by Koji Suzuki, about a girl, a well, and a cursed videotape. The story is about this young girl named Sadako, or Samara, having supernatural abilities and being thrown down a well, causing her to return to the living world through a cursed tape. And if someone watches it, they will watch as their spirit crawls out of the well and come out of their TV to kill them 7 days later. The inspiration for this film and novel is about the story of Okeku, who died in a well at Himeji Castle, located in western Japan. Okeku was a servant to a samurai named Tenzin Aoyama, who took a liking to her, or had a horrible obsession over, and the cause of her death because of her rejection. One of Okeku's duties was to look after 10 valuable gold plates that Aoyama owned. One day, Aoyama decided to steal one plate, to blackmail her into being with him, which led her to being tortured and then executed. There are other stories about this tale, one version being that she threw herself down the well because of no hope of surviving either option, or another is that Aoyama threw her down the well after she rejected him. It was told that every night after her death that she would torment Aoyama because of her screams of the missing plate. While there is a major difference between Okeku and Sadoku, they do share a common fate of being thrown in a well to a watery grave, and they do torment the people of the living. These films helped introduce Japanese superstitions into Western media today, and more films are being made to talk about the urban legends, folklore, and superstitions that Japan believes in.